Welcome to another incredible video. First of all, look at my chain, look at my glasses. We're doing it fashion. So this is a sponsored by HelloFresh video. Look at my amazing meal that I made.
Bring it higher. What is it?
It's enchiladas, but I prefer to eat them not in enchilada form. So I'm very sorry, HelloFresh, but they are enchiladas and they're delicious.
You do them like open faced?
Yeah.
Look what I made.
I would say they're the calzone of enchiladas.
I made this fancy pasta, silky Sicilian penne.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Ready? Go.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's the winner.
Anything with chives and cheese and I'm in, baby.
So good. And it's vegetarian, which I love. HelloFresh offers so many recipes to choose from each week to help you break out of your recipe rut.
HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and prepping so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or even 20 minutes with their quick and easy options.
HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients mean there's less prep for you and less wasted food.
Add extra dinners or lunches to your weekly order. Throw in extra proteins or add in yummy meal complements like HelloFresh's best-selling garlic bread.
Oh my God. HelloFresh donated over 4 million meals to charity in 2020 and is continuing to step up their food donations amid the coronavirus crisis.
I have to say, I had such a stressful day. And I was like very crunched for time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that I can cook this meal and be ready for our scheduled recording. And it was so easy.
Yeah, look, here's a peek behind the curtain. Allison's having a day.
I'm having a day, you guys. And
you
making
still
this food was the easiest part of it by far.
Go to HelloFresh.com and use code JBU12 to get 12 free meals, including free shipping.
That's HelloFresh.com and use JBU12 to get 12 free meals. And might I recommend the silky Sicilian penne?
You have to say the word silky too.
I know, that's my favorite part. And I have to tell you, it is pretty silky. So this is a video that we've already shot before and then couldn't use. So we're trying to do it again.
We scrapped it. Honestly, if someone who's rich wants to give us $1 million, we will release the first version of this video.
No, I think for $1 million, they should get the uncut version of that video because
you edited it. That's what I mean. Can I tell you something?
The raw footage.
I described the raw footage of that as a 45-minute psychological horror film. So this video is called, Is It Okay If Relationships Change? And basically the first version of this was me and Allison talking about the ways that our friendship has changed. Obviously, like there's been times on the channel where we've talked about like we are, less so friends than we are at other times, or we've talked about how there are certain videos where we're like, in the middle of a falling out, but we're doing the video. Now we have the JBU podcast, which you see clips of on this channel. And then, I would say on the podcast, we don't really give like updates on where we're at, right?
Yeah. Well, okay, here's what happened.
What had happened was
we had a massive falling out in October 2019. And then in the last video, we tried to get into the details of why that falling out happened. But the details involved too many other people where it wasn't like it wasn't like okay to share that. So basically what we're revealing to you today is that our relationship has changed significantly due to that falling out. Yeah. Which unfortunately, unless you pay us $1 million,
you will never know.
You'll never know the details of.
Guys, it's a doozy.
It's a doozy. But and then we never talked about it.
Right. And then we kept doing the show.
We almost canceled the show. We
did almost cancel the show.
We told our manager to cancel season 2 of JBU.
But okay,
and then he just did it.
But as any fan of this of our entire oeuvre should know is that how often did we had like a fight, one of us would email the other one, I quit the channel, and then nobody ever actually quit the channel. So
this time I thought it was for real.
I thought it was for real every time.
And then we were like, well, I guess we'll continue to do the show, but we won't be friends.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
And then we never, ever talked about what happened.
Right.
Until we shot the version of the video that we then can't show you.
Right. It's hard because you, like, you want to, like, we're not a regular friendship. Like, there are regular friendships, and then there are, like, people who have been married for, like, 50 years, and we're, like, in the middle of that. Like, there's
well,
like,
I thought you were going to say we're not a regular friendship because we're also business partners.
We're also business partners, but it also is like, this is like the longest that I've consistently been a part of someone's life in the everyday sense, other than like someone in my family. There's like, it was like a married at first sight situation. A lot of stuff happened really fast. And so then it was very like, I don't know. I feel like we were married. I say that when we had our falling out, it was a divorce. It felt like a divorce. And I said in the last video, my relationship to you is that of a beloved ex-wife. just like an ex-wife who you finally come around to, like, you love each other again and you love this ex, and I'm like, I love you, you're my ex-wife. And that may not make sense to other people.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what I've learned is, like, I've never had a relationship survive what we went through.
We went through so much together.
Yes. And so, you know, I've never had, I mean, I think if we weren't business partners, I think that falling out would have just meant we never spoke to each other again.
I know. So like I said in the last video, I'm sort of glad that the podcast continued because I felt like it was an excuse that I still got to see you.
And so then you might be wondering, how did we get from that to now? And I'm not sure. I think mostly time and space.
Time and space. And like I know that we both kind of did the thing of like testing, like you would send me like a meme just to like see if I would write back, or like I would like text you something just to see if you would write back. It's a very, I don't know, look, if you've been a longtime fan of this show, you might get it. Like, you might be like, I understand this relationship. Like, we're in it, and sometimes we don't understand it.
I will say that it was, what was different about, not to get into details.
Yeah.
But like, what was different about this falling out was that, like, for me, a wall went up with you that had never been there before.
Yeah. Well, me too.
And so, like, I just know, like, even if I enjoyed you, or even if I liked when we would do the podcast and we have so many memories.
We couldn't trust each other.
I didn't trust you anymore.
Yeah, right. We couldn't trust each other. So then it's like, you know, we've gone through changes a lot. Obviously that one was a big one, but like, I think like other people, I think people worry about like if they have friends and it changes. So what did we learn? Like, what advice can we practically provide for people other than spilling the tea? In which case, if you pay us $1 million, you can have the 45-minute raw footage of us hysterically crying.
At different times. At different times, which is so revealing of everything.
What?
We never cry at the same time.
No, we were both crying.
But at different times.
At different times, yeah.
Like, we're never
That's
both
why
crying.
It's a 45-minute psychological thriller.
I guess what I've learned is that it's okay for relationships to change.
Yeah.
I think that we were forcing a type of friendship that didn't work for us at that time.
Right.
I realized something recently, which is like, I think part of what makes our dynamic interesting for the audience is that there's internal conflict. Or there's inherent conflict. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're an odd couple, right?
Yeah.
And that's captivating for an audience.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult to actually live.
Well, yeah, we have different opinions on stuff, and we have different ways of approaching things.
Yeah, and we're just very different people, which like is interesting to watch, but is difficult to like maintain.
And it's good for content. I mean, geez, it's good for like, you know, the different points of view on our topical advice topics show.
Right.
You know?
But to like maintain that level of friendship.
You're like one of the funniest people I've ever met.
What?
I said I genuinely enjoy you. You're one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Well, I agree with that. But no, with you, for you. I meant for you. And like we obviously have this connection, but I think that at that time in our lives, we just like it like combusted.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, then we needed this time and space away from each other, where the only interactions we had was through the podcast, to sort of like regroup. I think we've both changed. I know I've changed significantly since October 2019.
Oh yeah, but I've also I've also changed, I think. I wish I had changed more. But yeah,
well, I've noticed significant changes.
Not enough, but thank you. I think in friendships you'll have moments in time where like you combust or something, especially if you're like in sort of a codependent friendship. People change all the time, and like the odds of you changing at the same time in the same way is so slim. Like I think you taught me a lot about how to be married, to be honest.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm like
I clearly didn't teach my ex-fiance, but yeah.
That wasn't your job. That wasn't your job. And also you put in like 7 good years of work with me, you know what I mean? Like But it's this idea that like people are going to change and people are going to be certain ways, and sometimes it'll be better than others, and I don't have to like flip out about it. Other than when we were going to stop doing the podcast, I was panicked that I would never see you again. But other than that, because like if you break up with someone, it's like maybe you'll never see them again.
Yeah. I think for me, it was like this interesting thing where people in my life would be like, so like, how are things with Gabby? And I honestly felt like even before we had the conversation about what happened, I was like, honestly, they're the healthiest it's ever been. Like in a way, when we like, I think I used to put so much importance on us like maintaining the friendship part of our relationship. And then once it became just a business relationship, then it was like more amicable. And then all the friendship stuff that slowly started to rebuild was just like a fun extra. I also, you know, I also think that there was a lot of stuff that like, even if we had changed, there was like resentments from when we were 25.
Oh, of course.
We were too high a level of friendship for how different we were.
Too high a level of friendship for any two people. It was like too thick, you know what I mean? Nobody can sustain that. Even married couples like have time off. If a friendship is changing, you don't have to put so much pressure, like people watching, to like force it, and it's okay to acknowledge it. And I think that was where we fucked up. I would say on a list of 100 ways we fucked up, that's one of them. Look, we're not perfect people. We're not role models. We're not here to be like, and everything's like, we had this falling out. We figured it out. We're like friends. You know what I mean? Like and then we're friends again. And that's the sitch, you know?
But it's not the same friendship. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's healthier.
It's healthier, but it's also less close. But like that maybe works better for us, you know?
Yeah, it's less up each other's assholes. Which like is hard for anybody. How can anyone sustain that?
This says something about resilience in relationship, a friendship that I've never had before. Totally. Where like we're still in each other's lives.
And that even when I was mad at you or you were mad at me, I didn't want to not be. But I didn't know how, because I'm stunted emotionally. So I was like, we have to keep doing the podcast. But honestly, Still a great, even when we didn't like each other, still a good podcast.
Still a great podcast. Still very proud of the podcast.
We still loved each other. We didn't like each other for a while. We still loved each other. It's very complicated. You guys get it. You're on this ride with us. You understand that this is like some weird, twisty, like soulmatey weird relationship. And this is exactly what HelloFresh wanted from us when we said, let's make a video. You guys ever had enchiladas?